Hey everyone, thanks so much for tuning in. Today's video is an all Dollar Tree lantern, and these things are my favorite, not only because you can use them around your home as decor or outdoor, but you can also use this as wedding decor. For a small one, it was about $2 and some change, and for the extra large one, it was about $5. So it's totally up to you what fits your needs. Anyway, I really hope that you enjoy this video and stick around by subscribing to this channel. Once you hit that subscribe button, we instantly become best friends.
Did we just become best friends? Yep!
And please go ahead and hit that notification bell so you know every time I post a video. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. For this tutorial, I used 2 tumbling tower games from Dollar Tree for the small lantern and 4 for the big one. I also used this tool from Dollar Tree. You can also get it at a hardware store, or you can use any leveler. I opened up my boxes of Jenga, and the way that I determined how I was going to size them was 1 vertical Jenga was the same as 3. So I determined how big I wanted the lanterns by this measurement. You're also going to notice that some of them are going to bring 1 Jenga piece with writing. I didn't want any to go to waste, so I used these for the base, and I used them face down. You're also going to want to inspect to make sure that your Jenga pieces are straight. Some of them are straight on one side and broken on another, so you can't really use these. They throw the whole thing off. As you can see right here, they don't connect completely. So make sure that you inspect all your pieces. Now I'm going to build my smaller one. Now my smaller one, I only did 2 vertical Jenga, and then I did 3 rows of 6, and I just kept removing Jenga until everything fit nicely, making sure that it was perfectly straight. This part is really, really important because you want everything to be nice and leveled so it looks good and not wonky at the end. So before I even glue anything, I'm making sure that the Jenga pieces that I chose fit perfectly. This one is for my smaller Jenga, and it's a row of 2, 6, 6, and 2, and I'm going to make 2 of these. And then for my larger Jenga, I'm going to do 3, 9, 9, 9, and 3, and I'm going to make 2 of these as well, 1 for the top and 1 for the bottom. So I'm going to move these out of the way carefully because I want to keep it in the same order, and then I'm going to attach them by using Gorilla Wood Glue. The stuff is amazing, but instead of using the nozzle, I'm going to spread the glue using a popsicle stick. In my last tutorial that I did this, I used the nozzle and I had to sand everything down a lot. So I figured this would save me a little bit of sanding and make sure that my wood stain actually goes on the wood. So I'm adding glue to all sides of my Jenga piece except for the sides that are going to be exposed to the outside, and then I'm pressing them up against the Jenga next to it, making sure that it's perfectly leveled. And you're going to see here that I am trying to spread as thin as possible, but making sure that I'm covering the entire Jenga piece. So I'm not going to show you me gluing this completely because it would be completely boring, but I do want to show you at least 1 row and how I'm attaching everything. Like I said, make sure that you're not adding glue to the sides that are going to be on the outside and that everything is completely leveled. And make sure you're adding some sort of pressure so that everything is nice and attached and you don't have any loose pieces. I did forget to mention to make sure that you're doing this on a surface you don't mind getting glue on. No matter how thin of a layer you're adding, it will always seep onto the bottom. So make sure that you have this on a table that you don't mind having to scrape down afterwards. When I was finally finished, I did have glue seep up through the top, but make sure that you don't spread that glue. You can always pull that off later with some pliers or sand it down. And now I just took my leveler and just moved it a bit so it doesn't stay stuck to the table. To build the columns for the small ones, I just made a basic 4-row column and made 4 of these for the small lantern. For the large one, I made a double column, so I'm going to make 6. I'm going to make 2 identical pieces. So you'll see here, I'm just attaching them by adding glue to the bottom. And I'm actually adding it double since this is going to be supporting the entire lantern. And as I said earlier, you are going to see glue seep out and you might feel tempted to wipe it down, but do not wipe it. It is so much easier to remove when it's in little chunks like that. Next, I just took my leveler and put it next to the column and built another column right next to it. This just saved me a little bit of time. So I'm making 2 columns to make 1, if that makes sense. So when I have these 2, I'm going to flip one on its side and make a little L shape. Now I'm going to bind those together using my Gorilla wood glue, the same as I've been doing with all of my other pieces. And I'm going to end up making 4 of these for my large lantern. Since it was a lot bigger than the other one, I felt that doubling up the columns was necessary. Once I bind them together, I am going to double check to make sure that they're perfectly leveled, because all of this is really important to make sure that your lantern stands up straight. And as you can see, I have a cute little L shape. Everything is nice and leveled. And at the end, I should have 4 of these. It doesn't matter in which direction I face them because you can always turn them around. And once you have your lantern shape, you'll figure out which way you are going to position them. And you'll see that in just a second. I'm going to make sure everything is completely dry, and I'm going to grab my top and bottom piece. And to attach them, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this up like this. And I use just a regular box that I had. This is actually one of the Dollar Tree wall arts. And I put it onto its side, and I decided which way I wanted this to face. So if the larger part is going this way, then this part is going to go that way. When you're doing yours at home, you'll see exactly what I mean. Now I made sure that I had the leveler where it needs to be so that I am attaching these correctly. And I'm gonna use my Gorilla wood glue, making sure that on this piece I do have a really generous amount. I checked both sides to make sure they were perfectly straight, and then I grabbed my top piece just to double check to make sure that they were going to fit perfectly. Everything's dry. I'm going to stand it up, and I'm going to position my other 2 columns, basically mirroring the ones that are already attached. So I want to make sure that if one side shows the single side of the column, the other side shows it as well, if that makes any sense. You'll see it in just a second. Now I'm going to take my top piece while everything is still wet, and I'm going to add a very generous amount of glue to those top pieces. With this, I really don't mind if the glue seeps out a bit, because it's going to seep out into the top of the lantern, which no one will see. Make sure that all of your corners are aligned and that your lantern looks straight. I added a bit of weight to mine while it dried, and this is what it looks like on the double side. This is what it looks like on the single, so you get to choose which way you want to use it. Now I'm just adding a bit of weight while it dries, and next we're going to work on the very top, which I'm just going to take 4 pieces of Jenga and line it up like this. I'm going to attach those 4 pieces using glue. This is really, really easy, and I did this same shape and this same amount for both the small and large. So I'm adding glue to the bottom of these 2 pieces. This is really important. And then right here, I'm just gonna add 2 pieces of Jenga with no glue at all. And I'm gonna add 2 more to that side. My last 2 Jenga pieces are only gonna have glue on the sides so they connect to those top pieces. None at the bottom, because once it dries, you're going to want to be able to pull out those extra pieces that you've added, which are just spacers. So once you're done and it's completely dry, you have a cute little top part for your lantern. And like I said, this is what it looks like when it's single. This is double, so you decide where you want to put your lantern. I kind of liked how the single column looked better. So this is where I'm going to position mine, and of course I'm going to position this using my wood glue. For extra security, you are welcome to add small nails to the columns and the top. It's totally up to you. This was pretty secure in my book, so I left it as is. When everything was completely dry, I stained it using Minwax Dark Walnut, And I just used a regular cheap rag and started rubbing it on there. I'm gonna do the bottom for you guys so you see why I really didn't want to wipe the glue down. This is the area where the glue was wiped down, and it doesn't really hold the stain. For the rest of the lantern, it held the stain beautifully. I just rubbed it on there and did as many coats as I felt like I needed. I really don't average this into the cost of the lantern because this is the same stain that I've been using since my tray tutorial. I've used this for so many things, and you can probably make a good amount of lanterns using this one little thing of stain. So this is what it looks like, and I went ahead and did both of my lanterns. Even though some of the areas are unstained, I kind of like how it looks. This is what it looks like side by side, so you can see a difference, and both of them stained. To add an extra touch, I used this Dollar Tree rope and just cut off a small piece and hot glued it to the very top of the lantern. I hot glued it to the inside, and once I was done, bam, I had a beautiful wood lantern that can be used as home decor or wedding decor and is super affordable. If you like this video, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and thank you so much for watching. Till next time.